In 2011, Christian Aid launched PPA program, which has as objective the improvement of health of the populations as a whole and of infected and affected people of HIV/AIDS. In order to achieve that program, a partnership was created between Christian Aid and 5 organizations, namely Anglican Churches Province of Burundi, Bunerera, World Outreach Initiative, the Religious Denominations Network for Fight Against HIV/AIDS, and the Government Action Observatory. Jointly with partners, practical actions were carried out such as fight against discrimination of victims of gender-based violence, prevention of HIV and malaria, as well as putting in place income source activities. Despite complementary effort from the 4 partners, each partner focused effort on practical actions. Convinced about the high importance they have on a community, Bunerera gathered religious leaders and many sensitization actions were held in order to help them to do voluntary screening and not to discriminate HIV-positive people. Today, HIV topic is no longer taboo, and religious leaders will give testimony about their health state.
It was hard to say it openly in my church that you are HIV positive. But now, although we don't give opportunity to people to teach about HIV/AIDS, people come to ask for a time to testify. This year I was given time to testify, and I went back home very late because many people who were heading came to me astonished that I had this problem because they knew me as someone who is always happy. Thanks to Bunerera teachings, I could feel comfortable, and I began to give my testimony that I was a sheikh who is living with HIV/AIDS. What I did first was to gather the sheikh, 16 who could voluntarily go for HIV/AIDS screening. 15 of them were HIV positive. Then I gathered 60 imams who went for HIV/AIDS screening. 45 among them were HIV positive. This sensitization continued, and now I'm teaching this throughout all the provinces of the country. Now there is no discrimination. They told us about the situation of destitute and proposed to us what they had as project in order to overcome this poverty. Then we understood that it was a good idea in order to develop them. This is why we decided to support them in this project of farming pigs, which they had proposed to us, as we usually do to others who come as association with their different projects.
In 2011, under the financing of Christian Aid, World Outreach Initiative, which is already intervening in the sector of health, worked in the psychosocial taking care and also in taking care of HIV-positive people, as well as prevention in the northern and southern provinces of the capital city. Sensitization campaigns are being organized in order to show the need of voluntary screening.
Recently, the public health agent from World Outreach Initiative came to sensitize us about voluntary HIV screening that the organization was planning to do in the following days. I went and did the screening, and I found that I was HIV positive. They began to encourage me to start taking ARV drugs. I began to take them, and they continued to follow up until I informed them that when I take them, they make me weak because I take them without food. And sometimes I stopped taking them. They began to assist us with food, 3 kilograms of rice, 3 kilograms of beans, and 1 kilogram of fall nutritional flour, and some money for bus fare, but also more ARV drugs to help me and the pregnancy. But also, even now that I have given birth, the doctor has brought the medicine to protect the child from getting the virus.
As Anglican Church's province in Burundi is concerned, it supports young people from the provinces of Rumonge and Makamba in terms of fighting against unwanted pregnancies, HIV, and other sexual transmissible diseases. There has been training for trainers so that they can train others off too. Other young people relied on their own experience while sensitizing other young people.
I was a young lady, a young good lady. But in my teenage, I began to run after boys and have sex with them because I considered myself as a grown-up lady. Then I got pregnant. This brought me so much trouble and caused me to be discouraged and to see myself as nothing. I abandoned school, although I was then in the 9th form. My life continued to become worse and worse until I could not put on shoes and take care of my body, except taking baths before I went to sleep only. It is that time that the Muslim teachers from our mosque began the teaching about HIV and AIDS. Then we went to our mosque to listen to those teachings. I was touched by the teachings and was encouraged and felt that I was normal. I decided to return to school and I studied.
The Anglican Church's province also did a lot in the fight against malaria. Over 70,000 people were sensitized about it. Over 40,000 impregnated mosquito nets have been distributed, and over 41,000 cases of malaria were treated in health centers. Partners of Christian Aid also worked on gender-based violence. In this respect, the Religious Confessions Network for Fight Against HIV/AIDS and for the Promotion of Health organized sensitization sessions towards religious leaders and important members of the community against any kind of gender-based violence. Edikenheim Heroes family is included among families saved by those sensitization sessions.
My husband was very brutal and very irritable. When he arrived home, even before a quarrel, he would begin to beat me. I wondered what was wrong between us, and this made me very sad because I was a victim of physical and verbal violence. One day, I was beaten while I was pregnant of this child that I'm holding.
The Government Action Observatory put much emphasis on health financing. Activities have been carried out in order to promote the use of health insurance card. The Observatory of Government Action also organized exchange sessions on supply, distribution, and management of medicine. All Christian Aid partners with PPA approach joined the effort to sensitize about positive life, voluntary screening, to fight against gender-based violence, and fight against discrimination of infected people. Through PPA approach, Christian Aid and its partners have been able to reach thousands of beneficiaries during the last 5 years that PPA approach lasted for. Today, opportunities are there such as durable confessional structures which are available up to the village level, a big audience for religious leaders, a voluntary work spirit which is highly developed, and a high credibility developed within Christians.